1 month after it began at Delhi's Jantar Mantar, what started as a small student protest has snowballed. On Monday, the movement reached a turning point. Thousands of protesters marched towards the parliament, bringing large parts of central Delhi to a standstill. Police responded with barricades, lathi-charge, tear gas as clashes broke out and several protesters were injured, but the crackdown did little to slow the movement. So, how did we get here? The immediate demand at Jantar Mantar was simple: the resignation of Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. But that demand soon evolved into something much bigger: a nationwide call for accountability, education reforms, and an overhaul of India's existing examination system. Interestingly, the roots of this movement go back even further. It began with a remark by Justice Suryakant, who referred to youngsters as cockroaches. The comment sparked an outrage online and led to the birth of satirical Cockroach Janata Party, or CJP. What started as satire soon transformed into a youth-led social media movement. Within weeks, it drew over 20 million followers and supporters, becoming a platform where young Indians would voice their concerns about affecting their future. Now, the first major issue the movement rallied around was the 2026 NEET paper leak. It amplified students' anger, questioned the government's handling of the crisis, and demanded the resignation of Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. At the center of this movement on the ground has been activist Sonam Wangchuk, who has been on a hunger strike since 28th of June and is now admitted at Safdarjung Hospital. As he was removed from the protest site at Jantar Mantar and taken to Safdarjung, the protest only grew larger, with people in thousands pouring into Jantar Mantar, vowing to make this protest a success. But the paper leak was more than just another controversy. It became the tipping point after years of repeated examination leaks, allegations of irregularities, and a growing perception that no one was being held accountable. When the government acknowledged the 2026 leak and cancelled the examination, nearly 22 lakh students were forced to take the test again. For millions of aspirants, that was the moment of frustration that turned into outrage. Now, in this video, we will trace how the 2026 paper leak unfolded, why this case was different from the previous leak controversies, and how it fueled a nationwide movement. So, how exactly did the 2026 NEET paper leak happen? Let's go back to the beginning. On 3rd of May 2026, over 22 lakh students appeared for the NEET UG examination across India. Just a few days later, on 7th of May, Rajasthan Director General of Police Rajiv Sharma received a crucial tip-off. A so-called guess paper was circulating among aspirants. At first glance, it looked like any other coaching material, but investigators found something startling. The guess paper contained 410 questions, and 120 chemistry and biology questions matched the actual NEET paper exactly in the same sequence with the same options. That was the first indication that this wasn't a coincidence, it was a leak. Interestingly, there was another earlier warning. A professor who later emerged as a whistleblower had approached the Rajasthan police after coming across the same question paper being circulated on WhatsApp and Telegram on 4th of May, which is just a day after the examination. He reportedly warned the authorities that it appeared to be a genuine leak, but he was not heard. No FIR was registered and no detailed investigation was initiated at that time. It was only later, after the matter came to the attention of the Intelligence Bureau, that investigators began taking the input seriously. The CBI, which was anyway probing the 2024 NEET paper leak, and the Rajasthan Special Operations Group then began to start digging deeper. What they eventually uncovered was a chain that, according to the investigation, led all the way back to the National Testing Agency, the autonomous body that is responsible for conducting the examination in a free and fair manner. At the center of this probe is one professor called P.V. Kulkarni, a chemistry professor who was part of the NTA's panel and was entrusted with the responsibility of translating the entire NEET question paper from English to Marathi. That role allegedly gave him access to the complete paper before the examination. According to the CBI, Kulkarni exploited that privileged access to leak the paper for money. Now, investigators allege that he passed the questions to a network of associates, including people who were running coaching institutes, counseling centers, and other intermediaries. The paper was then allegedly sold further down the chain to aspirants and their families. The alleged motive, investigators say, was twofold. One, to make money by selling the paper and to boost the success rate and therefore the reputation of coaching institutes whose students had access to this leaked questions. According to the CBI, what emerged was not the work of a few isolated individuals, but an organized nexus operating across multiple states. So, how did investigators piece together this entire network and establish the chain of the leak? I'll tell you. The Rajasthan SOG traced the origin of this guest paper to Sikar district. 5 days later, on 12th May, the CBI took over the case formally and adopted a simple strategy. Instead of beginning with the people who leaked the paper, that is from the top, investigators started from the people who had received it and worked backwards to identify its source. The first breakthrough came in Rajasthan. Investigators arrested members of the Biwal family, businessman Mangilal Biwal and his brother Dinesh Biwal, who had received the leaked paper. According to the CBI, Mangilal wanted to obtain the question paper for his son, who was a NEET aspirant. His son allegedly introduced him to one person called Yash Yadav, whom he had met during coaching classes in Sikar. Yash allegedly claimed that he can arrange the paper for rupees 15 lakh in case his father is willing to pay. Mangilal allegedly negotiated the deal and agreeing to pay rupees 10 lakh if at least 150 questions matched the final examination paper. Now, according to the investigation, on 29th April, 4 days before the NEET, Yash sent the leaked paper to Mangilal over telegram. Mangilal allegedly printed the questions and distributed them to his son Aman Biwal, his nephew Rishi, another relative Gunjan, and a teacher named Satyanarayan. Now, the CBI says that the leaked paper was shared along with the correct answers. The investigation also revealed that Biwal family already had several members studying medicine. 3 sisters from the family were enrolled in medical colleges in Jaipur, Mumbai, and Varanasi, and one of them was reportedly appearing for NEET again this year. 2 more of Mangilal's children had already begun MBBS courses in Rajasthan, but the Biwals were only the recipients. Now, the next question was, who gave the paper to Yash Yadav? The trail led investigators to Nashik. There, the CBI arrested Shubham Khairnar, a final year BAMS student. According to the CBI, Khairnar supplied the paper to Yash Yadav, but Khairnar wasn't the original source either. He allegedly received it from one person named Dhananjay Lokhande, who is a career counselor based in Pune with links to coaching institutes and counseling centers. When Lokhande was questioned, investigators reached another name, Manisha Wagmare, who's a businesswoman from Pune. According to CBI, Wagmare provided the paper to Lokhande after receiving it on 28th April. She also allegedly helped organize special coaching sessions in Pune during the last week of April. And these sessions were conducted by Professor P.V. Kulkarni. That is what the CBI has said. Remember, P.V. Kulkarni, CBI has said, was the source of the NEET paper leak. According to the CBI, Kulkarni dictated questions, options, and answers during these classes while students copied them into their notebooks. Now, these are handwritten notes that the CBI has put as evidence in their charge sheet. Investigators say those handwritten questions matched the actual NEET paper almost exactly. Wagmare is also accused of coordinating similar classes with another person named Manisha Mandhare, who is a botany lecturer who allegedly had access to the botany and zoology portions of the paper. But the investigation ultimately pointed to one man as the central figure in the entire conspiracy, which was Professor P.V. Kulkarni. A chemistry professor from Pune, Kulkarni had been associated with the National Testing Agency since 2019 as a subject expert. His role, however, went beyond chemistry. He was also part of the translation process, converting the paper from English into Marathi. Now, according to investigators, that role gave him access to the complete question paper, something most subject experts never receive. The CBI believes that this is where the leak originated. Now, Kulkarni has remained in judicial custody since his arrest in May. The agency also arrested two more people, Shivraj Motegaonkar, who runs a coaching institute and a popular YouTube channel, along with pediatrician Manoj Shirure. According to investigators, Kulkarni allegedly used Shirure as an intermediary to pass questions to Motegaonkar. The CBI says it has recovered 36 images containing 132 handwritten chemistry questions from Mategaonkar's phone. Those questions allegedly matched the final NEET paper. This is the chain that the CBI has pieced together so far. But the investigation has now raised even a bigger question. If the alleged mastermind had access to NEET papers as an NTA expert since 2019, could similar leaks have taken place in previous years as well? This is also what makes the 2026 case very different from the 2024 Bihar NEET controversy. Now, in 2024, investigators maintained that the leak occurred during the transportation of question papers and described it as localized. The examination was not cancelled. In 2026, however, investigators allege that the leak originated from within the paper setting process itself. That is why the government cancelled the examination and ordered a nationwide retest. The CBI's charge sheet is expected to provide more clarity on the full conspiracy and the people who received the question paper. But outside the courtroom, the issue has already become much bigger than a criminal investigation. The protests continue to grow. Students are no longer asking only who leaked the paper, they are asking who will take the responsibility for a system they believe has repeatedly failed them. This is Ananya Bhardwaj reporting for The Print. Thank you for watching.